football left, but to each their own. And my hat was off to Clay-Chalkville last year. Matter of fact, I called Bach after the game on Friday and told him he earned a lot of my respect, all the respect I had for him, plus the way he continued to run the football up in there in tough times, in tough areas. And so, it's a week 5, and we want to win the game, and it's the most important. It's like we want to win this as bad as we want to win any region game. Our desire is to win it, but at the same time, it's kind of a relief to know we can try some things that we have been wanting to try, but in region games, it's just not the time to take undue chances. We threw the ball only 8 times last week. There was a lot of times when we got the ball, we had to play defense on offense. Our guys were tired. That's on the field a long time. And I think good football teams and good coaching staffs, we all work together to, when they're getting 3 and out, we're pretty good. I think I told them the other day, I think we're over 60% on drive scores after 3 and outs. So I think it's just a motivational or a momentum thing that when we get off the field, we do pretty good on offense. But last week, the situation was we needed to run the football, which we averaged about 9 yards a carry, had 260, 70 yards of offense. So really production-wise, we were really good. I was really pleased with running the football that night. I just felt like we needed more snaps.
It's now time for the DL on the Warriors. Trent Seaborn, Cam Pritchard, and Darian Mosley all headed to Death Valley last week for a recruiting trip. Seaborn will be back on the recruiting trail on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. Just announced, women's basketball coach Art Bogan has resigned. Madison Pierce has been named interim head coach. Pierce has been with the Warriors since 2019. The softball team took back to the diamond this weekend to help with Field of Angels. The program allows children with challenges a chance to enjoy the game. The Thompson cross-country team came home winners this past weekend from the Dolphin Run. Their next race is October 19th in Tuscaloosa. And congrats to baseball standout Caden Wooten for committing to Bevel State. That's going to do it for us here on the Weekly Warrior Preview. Thank you to our sponsors who make this show possible each and every week, and thank you to you guys for watching. We hope you enjoy homecoming as the Warriors host Clay-Chalkville.
And welcome in, everybody, broadcasting live from Alabaster, Alabama tonight. I'm Tim Melton, an honor to be here yet again for the Warrior Nation Network as your official host all season long. We are counting down the minutes until your Thompson Warriors once again take the field as this feared Alabaster squad looks to notch their 5th straight win of the season tonight following a big-time comeback win on the road last week against Vestavia Hills. Each and every week, you see teams trying their hardest to take down Thompson. This week, it'll be the undefeated Cougars of Clay-Chalkville's chance as they face a true test tonight against a Warriors defense that has become just as famous for the points they put up as they do for the drives that they end. Tonight's broadcast and all Warrior Nation Network broadcasts are brought to you by Central State Bank. Central State Bank is the official banking partner of Thompson Athletics. Are you looking for a local banking partner to meet your personal, business, or mortgage needs? Look no further than Central State Bank. Call or stop by a branch today. I can't go any further without bringing in the voice of the Warriors, Matthew Moyer. Matthew, it's homecoming week, and we have a lot to be excited about in what's set to be a potentially thrilling matchup, at least on paper.
I will tell you that it's rare that you get a homecoming matchup like this, but you've got 2 top 5 teams, top 3 teams in their respective classes. Tonight's game has the potential to be absolutely fantastic. Yes, you are absolutely correct.
Matthew, last season, Clay-Chalkville, they were able to secure a 36-33 win with Thompson, falling overall to 1-3 against Clay in the series. They last won in 2022 with a 17-14 victory. Why do you think Clay is going to have a tough time potentially sneaking up on Thompson here in their 5th overall meeting?
I'm not sure they're able to sneak up on too many teams anymore with the success that they've had recently. if our defense plays 90% of what they did last week, it's going to be a long night for the Cougars. I have a feeling that our offense has really focused on being dialed in this week. Our running game was fantastic. I really feel like our offense is going to do everything they can to match the intensity that our defense played with last week. And if that's the case, watch out. I'm really excited to see a complete game on offense and defense. Our special teams have been great. I'm really excited to see a complete game from our Warriors.
Very well said. Matthew, last week, Thompson got hit in the mouth early with a surprise onside kick to start the game against Vestavia, but they were able to keep their composure and then dominate clearly in the second half. What does it say about the strength of this Warriors attack that other teams feel like executing trickery has to be a part of their game plan in order to get a leg up on the gridiron? Because if you look at it, it's kind of a compliment.
Well, one of the things that the three of us have talked about over the last couple of weeks is you are everyone's Super Bowl. Whether you're a defending state champion that comes into the game undefeated or you're a team with 1 or 2 wins coming in, the Warriors are the Super Bowl week in and week out for every team that we play. That's going to be no different tonight. And so poise and execution are the 2 words that I would use to look for from Mark Freeman's team tonight.
Let's talk about the coach. Even with the lopsided win on the final scoreboard, Coach Freeman was fired up going into the half, making sure his team is more prepared for potential situations. This week probably led to a lot of strong teaching material when he was finally able to get back to the indoor training facility here on the campus of Thompson High School.
I think he had his team's undivided attention this week. You're exactly right. And I think that last week really taught them a lot. It woke them up a little bit. It got their attention. They saw what the defense did in order to come out of Vestavia Hills victorious. And so, yes, you're, again, exactly right. I think that Coach Freeman had their full attention from Monday through right now.
Our Warrior Nation Network color analyst is 2-time state champion John Lunsford. John, homecoming is a beautiful thing. We're seeing it here on the screen as we speak. It can also be a little bit of a distraction, though. As a former player, how do you drown out all the extra attention that homecoming brings and hone in on the matchup itself?
You have fun during the week with all the different activities and all the dressing up and everything that you do, but then Friday comes and you got to turn all that off. You got to think it's just another football game and not treat anything different. I know right now we're watching as homecoming court comes out as the rain is also starting to fall out there as well. But this is something that as a football player I didn't even know existed when it came to the game. As far as I was concerned, I was in the locker room getting ready for a game like any other game. And then once that first whistle hits, that first kickoff happens, it's a game just like any other. Now they have played Clay-Chalkville in this spot the last couple of years, and it's a tough homecoming game compared to typically scheduling a quote-unquote weaker opponent, but it does get you more fired up knowing that you have a little bit extra to play for, knowing there may be some people here that may not come to games a lot of times because they come to homecoming to visit their alma mater. So there is kind of in the back of your mind, hey, this is a bigger game, but bottom line, this is Clay-Chalkville, and you shouldn't need any extra motivation to get up for it.
John, this game tonight serves up another opportunity for Thompson to establish a narrative that they are at the top of the football food chain. Every single game has weight to it, but especially when you're lined up across from a team that has built the reputation that Clay-Chalkville has currently. It really is an iron sharpens iron situation. Games like these have to build character in a locker room, don't they?
And surprisingly, this is a game where neither one is ranked number 1 in their respective poll. When you're an outsider and you look in, you think, well, it's Thompson, it's Clay-Chalkville. These are the 2 top teams in the state regardless of classification, but a lot of people don't see it that way. So there's a little bit of extra motivation for both of these teams coming in right now. We need to prove ourselves. We need to tell everybody we are the number 1 team. If you're Thompson, look, we're better than Auburn. We're better than Central, who's ahead of them. If you're Clay, we're better than Parker, who is ahead of them. Because these are 2 teams that went down to the wire last year. Thompson went down to the wire and lost in the championship. Clay went down to the wire and snuck out a win over Saraland. Both teams have a lot to prove. Both teams are undefeated in region play where it really counts, and both teams are unbeaten after 4 quarters. Both teams are unbeaten in the state. However you want to frame it for these two teams. But you're seeing in the locker room right now, there's all kind of motivation to come out here, whether it's homecoming, if you're Clay, to win on homecoming. I remember Thompson went to Chelsea a couple of years ago, and it was Chelsea's homecoming. Why on earth they scheduled Thompson for homecoming of all teams? I have no idea. But, it get a little bit extra motivation. Let's come in here and really beat them when it's on their homecoming. So both teams are so pumped up right now in the locker room, regardless of whether it's homecoming or not, to come out and get a win.
John, let's talk about the pieces on the field. You have tonight's starting lineup presented by Abide Roofing. At Abide Roofing, they understand that your home is your most valuable asset, and they're committed to protecting it with top-quality roofing solutions. Whether you need roof repairs, replacements, or installations, their team of experienced professionals deliver exceptional service and lasting results. Who are we set to see under the lights tonight?
On offense first, Trent Seaborn, of course, your quarterback, has been really solid in his few years as a starter. Only a sophomore, but still a veteran quarterback. Still always so odd to say that every time I say it, and it'll never get old saying that, knowing that there's a veteran, but also still many years to come. He's been great this season, but nobody has arguably been better than Michael Dujon, who's starting at running back. He has had multiple 100-yard games, over 500 yards in the season, 7 total touchdowns. He has been phenomenal so far this season. On that offensive line, opening up holes for Dujon, Barron Criddle, A.J. Williams on your left side, Dylan Marcus at center, and then Braden Saylor and Parker Millstat on the right side. All 5 have been playing phenomenally so far this season. At wide receiver, Dedrick Kimbrough, the freshman, Price Lewis, who is the leading receiver in terms of yardage this season, Darian Mosley, and Trey Knight rounds out the receiving corps. On defense, you have, of course, Jared Smith, who has played phenomenally on that defensive front, been getting in the backfield all season. Nick Alston, Hayden McDonald, great on the interior. Cam Pritchett been doing solid as well, the sophomore. At the linebacker position, Trent McCorvey played really good last week. Trent Cheatham has been playing really well, and, of course, Vinny Pyers literally everywhere you possibly need somebody on the field. There he is. In the defensive backfield, Anquan Fagans had a can't really call it a scoop and score. It was a rip and return last week for him. 95 yards the other way. Great defensive touchdown. Peyton Lewis, DeMonte Tab, and Micah Fleming also with an incredible interception last week, returning it for 6. Those are your defensive starters.
That's the Abide Roofing starting lineup. Call today for all of your roofing needs. 205-941-6223. There's so much more to get into here on the Warrior Nation Network in mere moments as we are set to see the Thompson Warriors take the field yet again. Let's talk about some of the weather conditions here tonight in the contest. It's currently 70 degrees here in Alabaster. A 10% chance of rain reported. I think we're already seeing those raindrops here as we speak tonight. Winds around 5 miles per hour. This weather report brought to you by Rental Men. At Rental Men, it's their goal to be your best choice for large and small equipment, rental and sales. With locations in Calera, Pell City, Decatur, and Tuscaloosa, they can serve all residential and commercial customers across the state of Alabama. Call them today for all of your equipment needs. John, we've got the weather report up here. We're seeing the rain coming down. This has been something that we've been following, or at least the rain has been following us, it seems, week in and week out.
This has probably been the weirdest opening to the season when it comes to weather. This is the third game where, at least in the lights across the way, we can see a heavy rain. I do think it's way more of a heavy mist than a heavy rain because I don't see a lot of umbrellas up in the crowd necessarily right now, but it is definitely coming down, and it has the potential to get a lot worse. Obviously, a hurricane, coming through parts of the southeast that is leading to this rain here and led to a lot of cancellations because this is non-region week for most people. But yeah, that weather has been a factor, and even coming in before the rain started to fall, we saw the wind as we were out doing the pregame in the full moon tailgate area, watching the full moon table. Even their tablecloths were whipping around in the wind. You can see it on the flags right now, so the wind definitely can be a factor also. There's a lot of factors, but you know what? It also means you're very well-versed at playing in the rain and playing in the wind, and you kind of know how to handle it.
We will take a quick timeout and be right back here with our pregame festivities as we get you ready for Clay-Chalkville and Thompson right here on the Warrior Nation Network. Hey there, Alabaster. When you're injured and you need someone to fight for your rights, turn to the name you can trust, Sean Capps Injury Law. At Sean Capps Injury Law, we're not just attorneys, we're your neighbors, your advocates, and your partners in justice. Got questions about a personal injury, wondering what your case is worth? We've got the answers. Visit our website at www.capsinjurylaw.com or call us at 205-955-5555 for a free case evaluation. And here's the best part, you won't pay us a dime unless we win your case. That's our promise to you.
Warrior Express Texaco is your one-stop shop for all your convenience needs. From ice-cold beverages to their delicious Hunt Brothers Pizza, Warrior Express has everything you need to get Warrior ready this football season. Locally owned and operated, their friendly staff is second to none. Each of their 10 fueling stations is equipped with 5 types of fuel, including non-ethanol and diesel, available at every pump. Fuelman is accepted and buses are welcome. For unbeatable mileage, put some Techron in your tank today. Go Warriors!
Poto's Boutique is a proud sponsor of Thompson Athletics. Ladies, are you looking for a casual and cute outfits, accessories, or the newest fashion trends? Poto's has you covered. Follow us at Poto's Boutique on Facebook and Instagram, or stop by our store on Highway 31 in Calera.
I'm Dr. Michael Patterson, orthopedic surgeon specializing in sports medicine. I've been fortunate since I've been an Alabaster to be the team physician for Thompson High School. Been there 14 years. Basically take care of the athlete, and that includes ankle sprains to shoulder injuries to neck and back injuries that occur during sports. We also have training room out of those schools. We're there to evaluate their injuries and make sure they can safely return to sports, and we try to provide, again, the best care anywhere in the country at Thompson High School. Go Warriors!
Welcome back into our pregame show here on the Warrior Nation Network. We have introduced both Matthew and John here on the broadcast. Down on the field for us this evening is our sideline reporter, Christina Chambers. Welcome back in, Christina, for another week of Thompson Warriors football. We'll check in with Christina, I think, a little bit later in the broadcast. But now, John, let's go ahead and get to our keys to victory presented by Encore. Our thanks to the Encore Sports Medicine athletic trainers and physical therapists for providing our athletic training coverage today and every day. Encore is the official sports medicine and rehabilitation provider for Thompson Athletics and the Alabama High School Athletic Association. John, what are we looking at tonight?
So number one, tackle well in space. This is something Thompson has done a good job of all season. I mentioned in our pregame, Trent Cheatham did a really good job last week of pursuing the quarterback, but Clay-Chalkville is a fast team. They're a team that can get out in space. So just, keep your assignments. Vinny Pyre's done a great job of that. Trent Cheatham's done a great job of that. Arguably nobody better at that than Anquan Fagans at tackling out in space. Number two, stick to the game plan. Look, this coaching staff has put together a game plan, and sometimes you'll see Thompson from one week to the next, and it is a totally different game plan. But that's because Mark Freeman and this whole staff have done a great job at building exactly what they need to in the offense to, have the right game plan to put points on the board. Number three, play assignment football. Know your assignments on the field. You have played half a season now. You know what you need to do on the field. If you're on defense, you know what your assignments are. If you're an offensive lineman, you know your blocking schemes. You know your routes as a receiver. Do what you need to do. Do what you practice all season long. You're getting to the point now where you kind of are in a rhythm, and it's more about going out there and doing what you do best and playing good Thompson Warrior football.
All right, good stuff there. Matthew, this Thompson defense deserves a lot of credit for helping create so much distance in the final scores we've seen over the past several weeks. A 47-7 victory against Tuscaloosa County, a 42-7 victory against Oak Mountain, 38-17 final score on the road against a Vestavia team that never scored in the second half. I can't wait to see what they accomplish again on the field tonight. This could be their best trick of all.
It certainly could. With the speed of this Clay-Chalkville team, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Going into last week, we mentioned Warrior defense was averaging 12.5 points per game scored against them, but the 2 weeks leading into it, they had held their opponents to 7 points. So they are really starting to gel and come together. The defense is maturing exactly what you're hoping for at this point in the season. I think they're going to show us another outstanding performance this evening.
John, how much in this non-region game do you expect the foes of Class 7A Region 3 to be taking notes on what happens here tonight at Warrior Stadium?
Well, you get your best in a game like this. And so, if there's anything Thompson hasn't shown on film, there's a chance it gets shown tonight. Now, when you start with a game against Grayson, who's a really good team, same kind of thing. When you start against Lipscomb Academy, you have to play good, solid football, and you can't just say we're going to run a limited playbook and that. So I imagine a lot of people are going to use this game film if Clay ends up pulling out the victory like last year. Hey, this is maybe a blueprint on how to put points up against Thompson, how to potentially win a game. But, it also could be definitely a warning, shot to other teams too, saying, look, this is Thompson's best. They come out and win a game like this. This shows how hard it actually is to beat Thompson. But either way, this is a game that, is the game of the week in the state by far. All the other good games we talked about pregame and everything. This is by far the best game, and a lot of eyes are on this one.
Matthew, I'm just doing the eye test here. I want to see if you agree with me. I think this is the most fans, both home and away, that we've had here at the stadium for a Thompson Warriors home game all season long. There's no doubt the crowd should play some sort of factor tonight.
Yep, firmly agree. Homecoming is as it should be. A lot of fans here on the home side. It looks like the Cougar fans have traveled very well also, as they should. Again, like John just mentioned, it's the game of the week, probably one of the top 5 games of the season, and so yes, it deserves the crowd that it has.
Absolutely. Really quickly here, John, what should be the difference in the game tonight?
The difference should be how well Thompson has played on defense. This is not the same offense that came in here and got the win last year.
Let's go ahead and head down to the field, and with the Marching Southern Sounds giving us our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, the playing of our national anthem presented by the Thompson High School Marching Southern Sounds.
Welcome to Thompson Warrior Football, a legacy of excellence, carried through today and for generations to come. Bringing you the action tonight is the play-by-play voice of the Warriors, Matthew Moyer, color analyst and 2-time state champion John Lunsford, Warrior Nation Network host Tim Melton, and Christina Chambers bringing us the action from the sideline. This is Thompson Football on the Warrior Nation Network.
While we have this opportunity, let us welcome you into Warrior Stadium for homecoming. Christina Chambers is on the sideline to get us kicked off this evening. Christina, good evening.
Good evening, guys. Yeah, one thing head coach Mark Freeman said this week is they had to fight for their lives last week against Vestavia Hills, but coach says he also knows they can't have 30 to 35 plays on offense and win many more games like that, and that's going to take place here tonight against this speedy Clay-Chalkville team. Coach Freeman says that this team, they have a lot to prove left for the rest of the season. But he said tonight is about having fun. It's a non-region game. Expect them to take some chances and do some things offensively that they haven't been able to do this season due to region play. So coach obviously wants to get the win here tonight. It's homecoming night, but he also says they also know they have a lot to work on because next week it's back to region play.
Christina, great stuff. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to checking in with you throughout tonight's contest. Homecoming, a soldier's return from duty, a return of a group of people on a special occasion to a place formerly frequented or regarded as home, an annual celebration for what alumni at a high school, college, or university. That's what Webster's Dictionary tells us the definition of homecoming is, and it started all the way back in 1911. Tonight, as our Warriors take on the challenge of Clay-Chalkville, our community of Warriors will gather together to reminisce, laugh, share fond memories, and do their best to cheer our team on to victory. Clay-Chalkville enters tonight's game undefeated, and it's the defending 6A state champions. Last year on this very field, they left victorious with a final score of 36-33. Their field general from last year's team is now in Tuscaloosa with the Crimson Tide, but they've reloaded and are once again a force to be reckoned with. This year our Warriors look to change that and exact revenge. Last Friday night our defense showed they're up to the challenge of leading this team to victory. Michael Dujon and RJ Evans continue to put up big numbers on the ground, and with Trent Seaborn at the helm, our receiving corps continues to make great strides. All of this means the quest for the ring remains in sight as our Warriors have another tremendous growth opportunity this evening against Clay-Chalkville. Two-time state champion John Lunsford joins me now. John, another stiff test on the field tonight for our Warriors.
This may actually be the best team that Thompson plays all season, regardless of Region 3, regardless of out-of-state teams that Thompson has played. Clay is a force to be reckoned with every single year, and they've become really the top team in Class 6A. I mean, Parker is technically ahead of them right now. Sarah Lynn has had a lot of success, especially the last couple of years with KJ Lacey and Ryan Williams. But Clay-Chalkville is a team, there's only a few teams in the state of Alabama that no matter who graduates from the roster, every single year you say it doesn't matter. There's somebody there to reload. In the same way a college team like Alabama, you know they're going to reload. Georgia, they're going to reload. Clay-Chalkville is that kind of team. And you think that about Thompson, you think that about Hoover, you think that about Central Phoenix City, over the past couple of decades. But Clay has been there. Jerry Hood turned Clay into an absolute juggernaut in Class 6A. And, Jerry Hood did it, Drew Gilmer did it, and now Stuart Floyd did it. And he was there the first championship they won as a quarterback. So everything about this team still says wins. It still says success. It still, is the same team that Thompson lost to last year. Yeah, Jalen Mbakwe's gone. Yeah, Drew Gilmer moved on. There's not a lot of the same talent there, but you can just look across the field at the captains walking across right now and say they got size, they have athleticism. They're a team that is always a force to be reckoned with. And when, the schedule was first sent out, Coach Pitts sent it to me and wanted me to do a little write-up on it. I said, hey, playing Grayson and Lipscomb Academy is great, but I love the fact that Clay-Chalkville is there every year. I said in the pregame, I stand by it. Hewitt-Trussville is scared to play Clay-Chalkville because of how good they have become. I'm perfectly fine with Thompson taking that place and this becoming an every year kind of game. I'm fine with this being the one that everybody has circled in the middle of the season. And it's an incredible test for both of them because depending on how you look at it, it doesn't, quote-unquote, count unless you need tiebreakers. But bottom line, this counts for both these teams because it's such a, big game to build them up for the rest of the season.
It's going to be a lot of fun to see two younger quarterbacks. Aaron Fry takes the helm for the graduated Jalen Mbakwe, as you mentioned. He's the quarterback for the Cougars. And, of course, our Warriors are led by sophomore Trent Seaborn. How does quarterback play affect a big matchup like we have here tonight?
Yeah, so Clay-Chalkville has always been the team that has had a very athletic quarterback, and I have not seen Aaron play, but everything seems to be still pretty good for Clay-Chalkville. Obviously, you look at the scores, and they have beaten up on the four opponents they played, albeit not great opponents. They have beaten up on them pretty good, and the defense has always been really good. Everybody's paying attention to the offense when you think of the names like Ty Pickering, Nico Collins, TJ Simmons, Jalen Mbakwe, the players that have played for this offense, but let's not forget about names like DJ Dale that have been really solid on this defense as well. And I think that when you look at this performance so far for Clay-Chalkville, the defense has been almost even better. I mean, look, Thompson's put up 40-plus points multiple times this season. You can look at a team like Elba putting up 80 points in a game or whatever, but, the defense is the biggest thing. Elba lost that game. They put up 78 points and lost that game because they didn't have a defense. Clay's putting up 40, 50 points a game and giving up almost nothing. They've only given up 14 points all season, 7 points in each of their first two games against teams who used to be pretty good in Hueytown and Ramsey. And the only reason they don't look good now is because Clay destroyed them in the games that they played. Is it Clay that good? Are those teams, have they fallen off? I lean more on the side that Clay is just that good of a football team.
Yeah, and they have certainly showed that thus far. Speaking of that defense, last week we saw 3 defensive touchdowns. Do you think we need that kind of performance again tonight, or will we see more of a balanced attack from offense and defense?
I imagine you'll see a little bit more of a balanced attack. I think, running the ball worked well for Thompson last week. And Michael Dujon had another 100-yard game, and opened the scoring with a 41-yard run for a touchdown there to kind of get Thompson on the board for the first time. But the defense had to play well in that one. I think Thompson came out and started trying to pass the ball a little more, and I think people think first when they think about his offense, Trent Seaborn, that's the person we have to stop. And I think they did a pretty good job at stopping the passing attack. So what did Thompson do? Switch to the run, had some success with that, and were able to open things up a little bit more. The defense was just been kind of the gravy on top at that point with the touchdowns they were able to get in that second half. Thompson still was able to move the ball. They drove down, kicked the field goal in the second half. It's not like they didn't move. They just didn't have a lot of snaps because the defense kind of did everything for them. They only had, I think, 33 snaps in the whole game. But this is the kind of game that you need a balanced attack. I'll tell you somebody who has been looking forward to this game more than almost anybody, and that's number 37 on your screen right now, John Allen McGuire, because of what happened last year. Nobody wants to come into this game and prove themselves more than him, and I can't wait to see how he plays tonight as well. And I know you don't typically think of, I can't wait to see how the kicker plays. He's been phenomenal this season with his kickoff, his punting, and his field goals and extra points and all. So he's just been really solid this season. And you got to be strong on all aspects of the game. And You mentioned the defensive touchdowns, just not offensive touchdowns. I think they're up to 5 this season. So averaging 1 a game, I know it was very heavy last week, but let's not worry about forget about special teams. Anquan Fagans had a kickoff return for a touchdown against Lipscomb Academy. So there's a lot to be impressed with on this team. It's not just the defense like we saw last week. It's not just the offense like